C.R.P.H.A. Humanitarian and citizen advocate. This video is connected to the two. Okay, we're going to start with about a few months to about a year and a half ago. There was a California liberal politician that stated, of course, it could have been about more than a year ago, but anyway, in any case, there was a California liberal Democrat politician that stated that he was going to dismantle the Child Protective Services operation. Yet he never said when or how. Do you believe it could be a ploy to try to sway people from focusing on other things that the liberals are trying to fucking get away with, like Barack Obama and Jerry Brown? The basic fact is that the liberal politicians, as I've said before, they say a lot of things that they end up not doing. Yet, case in point, this particular politician said that he was going to dismantle CPS from within, because CPS has been absolutely corrupt. They keep on promising those parents that they have case involvement with, that we'll help you get your child back. And due to funding, supposedly, they end up taking the child away, or children, and they think that's justified. Yet the majority of the population that have that happen end up in divorce. If not more so than the majority has grown exponentially without anybody noticing. It's gone to the aspect that CPS is not in it to help the general public, even the new parents of any city and county within the state of California to start with. So that puts Sacramento's political government in a bind now, doesn't it? The state's political government in a bind. Is the state so blindsided? This state government so blindsided that they believe that they claim to believe in families and togetherness and all this, but yet families are being torn apart, mostly by a good percentage by CPS. And then about no less than a year after, the separation rate of families from their own children has more than gradually grown. This liberal politician, male politician, to let you know ahead of time, because of course, who's to say if a female politician in the same Democratic liberal idiot party would say the same thing, yet not even take any action? You could easily put it to points like, for example, if Nancy Pelosi or Barbara Box or Dianne Feinstein said, "Oh, they're gonna tear down, they're gonna tear CPS from within. You kind of basically dismantle them from within because they're corrupt." To name a few things, or at least to name one, really, in that sense. But it is to the C.R.P.H.A.'s belief is that Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Boxer, among other liberal idiot bitches, especially, don't believe that CPS is doing wrong. Yet, month by month, if not included year by year, new parents that generally would not do any harm to a child or an infant get their child or children taken away. Yeah, there are those cases where neglect comes in. Yeah, that I can understand, but after having the child, no less maybe a week before or a week after, actually, yeah, a week after, the child, the parents are put through CPS. There was a case I can say I was personally involved in, the fact that the person was judged harshly and wrongfully by the nursing staff in the in the delivery section of the the maternity ward, if you will, of the San Juan Medical Hospital in Carmichael, California. The nurse made a harsh, wrongful, sinful judgment, and yet the other nurses backed her up as if it was justified. Instead of instead of seeing that, instead of checking for themselves to see if that was an actuality. Um, and lo and behold, CPS comes over the next day. A female social worker of CPS comes over the next day. Then, when the mother of the child is supposed to recuperate after the delivery, um, instead the two parents are put through the ringer of having to go to parenting classes, and having and in the process after the fact that the child was taken out of the hospital within the same week. Then the next week, of course, the parents are put through the ringer of having to take parenting classes, having to do various other things, and yet in between, CPS was promising that they'd help them get their child back. The end result was that CPS was benefiting, in the sense of this, by not allowing not allowing the parents to have their child back when they had spiritual, especially when they had spiritual and family support. And yet they CPS thinks they're justified by even doing that. And hold on one second. And one thing is the CPS has done this more than even before that case, of course. And of course, in between, when this particular thing has happened, the CPS operation in the Silicon Valley was being sued, along with foster care system. This was around 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. To name a number of years. Has there truly been anything done to rectify the situation? No. CPS is continually doing the same shit that they've been doing thus far. And nobody seems to be the wiser. Yet even after the liberal politician the male liberal politician said he was gonna dismantle CPS from within and even said that they were corrupt. He said it himself. There has not been any action taken, especially when it comes to dismantling the particular program or organization, however you want to look at it. This, which basically you could easily see that this state doesn't give a damn. The state of California does not give a damn what happens to families, whether they're torn apart because of CPS's negative actions. Thereby, their social workers, and if you want to look at spiritually, their social workers will be put through the ringer in the sense of judgment when they are done living on this planet. And I'm only speaking spiritually. This is not a judgment. The more this sort of thing happens, that will happen. The more the state of California ignores this, the more the state government of California ignores this, and the more it happens, the more it will be clear, if you want to look at it in a spiritual sense, that the state of California is a sinful state. And that's a sad thing too, because I was born in the state of California. I was born in a small, what was then to be known as a small town in the state of California, in the Alameda County area. I know there's a lot of corruption going on, especially even in the government of the United States, as it's been said. But there's no reason to say for a politician, it doesn't matter from what party, to say one thing and no action being taken. No action being taken one iota. The basic fact is that if the liberal politicians want to claim that they're benefiting the citizens of California, New York, or any other state for that matter, or even if they are in the presidential seat and they promise a lot of shit that would truly logically benefit the United States and the American people, they need to fucking stick with it and stick by it instead of making phony, fuck-ass, illogical promises that they will be judged for when their time is up on this planet, like Obama will be. And so will Jerry Brown, and so will many other politicians that make phony, fucked up, stupid, no action type promises that would truly benefit the American people and our youth. And Jerry Brown will also be a number of them for his actions of what he did when it came to Prop 39 especially. So, to the liberal politician who openly said that, even in the media, via KFBK and other sources of the media, you are put on question. You are put on the the listing of the trial of courts up in the heavens, you will be harshly and severely put in more than question at that point. And so will many others that make promises that they don't even do, especially that would benefit the American people. And those who try to block it, and especially when it comes to those who try to block the positive things that Trump is trying to do, they will be put in the court, the heavenly base of court, for doing their negative actions by blocking something that will totally benefit and help the United States of America and the American citizens, be that, of course, the American people and our youth. And Nancy Pelosi is one of them that will be put in the superior court system up in the heavens when her little old wrinkly ass is put in the coffin, and her spiritual essence of within her will be questioned and put through the ringer up in heaven. And so will many others, including Jerry Brown and many others. And I know Heavenly Father will forgive me for putting anything towards judgments, but the basic fact is that it's getting to the points to where that society has gone more than corrupt. This is why I'm saying this. And also, besides of the shooting of the one teen, or the number of teens over the years, and of course with what happened with Stephen Martin, the situation, it seems that that things are being put through the test, as it were, and yet the one thing is, though, if you are in a particular point of authority when it comes to police force or anything else, you do not make the fast judgment and then end a person's life. Incarcerate him, one thing. But the one thing is, like, for example, the Stephen Martin situation. It was said that he had a cell phone, and yet it may have looked like in the distance, and especially with the glare of light or whatever, if there was any light, that it might have been a gun. There goes the base of sinful fast judgments right there. They didn't find out that it was only a cell phone until he was shot down by an officer's bullet from an officer's gun. I know this case is gonna keep on dragging on, but there's also been other aspects to where over the course of the millennium that that even officers within incarceration facilities have done things they shouldn't have done, and yet they're videotaped, and yet nothing's really been done really and logically to them. And even before anything is even done, even after the videotape is clearly there, that it's only reported via the media, and it's only been questioned and questioned and questioned and put through the, okay, what was the real reason? All this and that, and cover up. Just like what many people thought of the Nixon situation in the 1960s. when it came to Watergate. This country is a very, very strong defensive country and a very, very secure one, and that is also a very good one. But what's been happening since even since late has been less than spiritual in a positive sense. Way less. Extremely to the point of Satan. And I know Heavenly Father will forgive me for any basic judgment, which I'm not putting any judgment, but the basic fact is I'm just being honest. And people know this too. People have known this but haven't really voiced out too much, if at all, because they're afraid of backlash. Even if they were to voice their opinions or what have you, or how they felt, in the full extent, even through the media itself. People have said, even through the what was it, the Sicko documentary done by Michael Moore, that the healthcare system has gone completely to shit in this country. The healthcare system has gone so much to shit that there hasn't been any level or even logical aspects of support for the American people who are covered by Blue Shield, the Blue Cross, and many others, besides Aetna and various others, right? Therefore, also what's also been has secretly been being done, even if the politicians are being paid under the table in some effect or in some manner, that even behind the closed doors, as it were, as it's always been done, that even the senior citizens have suffered to some extent, and that's not even being focused on. The people who have various illnesses that have not been really studied are suffering or have suffered. A number of them end up 10 feet under. They claim to have doing scientific studies on these things, but where's the results? Where's the proof? I am saying this because I am a humanitarian advocate, and I am saying all these because I care about every person on this planet, including our youth. The base of the C.P.H.A situation is because of our youth. And also, here's the other part of it. The divorce rate in this country is still climbing. And it is to this advocate's belief and understanding of why there is a base of MGTOW. The male grouping of men going their own way. Because they're sick and tired of not only the feminazi aspect of the feminist bullshit and the feminist mind game brainwashing that the female feminist followers are trying to do to offset the male thinking and trying to get it to where the woman gets what they want. Even on the unfair aspects, especially when it comes to a man's well-being, a man's self-worth. That can also put the female gender in the courts of the heavens as well, in the sense of judgment. It can. I'm not saying it would, but it can. The more negative things that are being done that negatively offset people, including the American people, the ones that are promised a lot of shit, yet nothing's done. Many things that are promised that would really truly benefit the American people, even that are voiced by the liberal politicians both in New York and in California. To name just two to start. When you are in political office, you need to get away from the fucking corruption of politics, and get away from the corruption of being paid under the table. Forget all that crap. The politicians claim to be in office for the people. They've been claiming this from the very beginning of when the base and the creation of the political system has shown itself, has even put into an actuality. People after people after people after people, person after person, essentially, has promised a lot of shit that they're in the office for the people. What has been shown over the years is that they're only in it for themselves. And yet they even show it by agreeing to certain behind closed doors aspects of if you do this, oh, here's some cash paid under the table secretly. If you make if you make sure that the American people are not benefited logically, even though you promised it, here's the cash to back that up. We'll support you if you do it our way. Essentially, that's what's been going on. Are the American people aware of it? Are the American people aware of it? No. Has it been videotaped, even in Josh's thing of him being in talks with certain people? Yes. Has it made it to where he doesn't get voted into office? No. He's still in office, isn't he? Josh Harder, I think he's Josh Harder or something or other. He's a corrupt liberal politician. He promises a lot of things. There's a lot of phony baloney crap said about him, even in his political campaigns. And I know there are a lot of phony baloney crap anyway. I've known it even during the political campaigns, even when it came to the political campaign between the Republican politician that was running for governor and also Gavin Newsom. Who more than recently has changed his party support from being a moderate Republican the way he was as San Francisco's mayor in the 1990s to a staunch Democrat. And he did this as he started backing up Jerry Brown as lieutenant governor. Then now he's still a staunch Democrat, even as head governor of California. He claims to be a family man. Maybe we should put him at a test. Of course, who's to say if he'll actually take it? Because if he doesn't, it just proves that he's a corrupt, staunch Democrat, and he's afraid of actually supporting, of doing things that are right for the American people and our youth. Okay, let's start with this. The state of California is still in the 40 percentile when it comes to the percentage rate of education. We could do a lot better than that in the state of California. Let's see, without being paid under the table to prevent it, let's see if Gavin Newsom can make things better for our youth in the sense of, let's start with changing the high tax plan, which was voted in by the legislative loophole movement done by Jerry Brown, which Prop 39 was originally for California school funding. Jerry Brown himself, former Governor Jerry Brown himself, was on the TV ads for it with a number of youth. Then as I said, I've said this many times before too. Then when he saw that Prop 39 was about to pass, he went behind closed doors, and the Sacramento Bee said this, and you won't find this anymore online, more than likely, that that Jerry Brown went behind closed doors and went through a legislative loophole and changed the school funding of Prop 39 legislation to his high tax plan. Therefore, his high tax plan became into the basic law. Therefore, also, many businesses have either gone under because of the bullshit or left the state. To name one, Hershey Company, Maxwell House, the Campbell Soup company, essentially, the corporate office of Jack in the Box and Carl's Jr. Just to name a few. How many more do have to be either to the point of belly up or completely out of the state of California to the point to where it makes it even more difficult for people to find stable employment? As it stands, since 2002, the state of California, starting in Sacramento, has made it more difficult. It's been more difficult to find stable employment, even before Jerry Brown, starting in the city and county of Sacramento. It's slightly easy to do that in Silicon Valley. It's not that easy anymore. Things are becoming even tougher out there. Also, things are becoming even tougher when it comes to that there's no rent cap. You know how there's like you know how like in when it comes to a football contract between and the NFL play and the players of each team. where there's like a cap to where they only go so high, right? But that's about it, right? In the sense of paying the player, right? There's no cap for California in any area, any county, and city or town for that matter. That there's no cap. There's no cap to prevent it from going any higher. So essentially, here's the bottle. Here's the rent. It's going to go right through to the points to where either everybody leaves the state of California or everybody becomes homeless. And and the liberal politicians think that the homeless situation in the state and city and counties of California and the towns of California is bad right now. If the rent situation it keeps going the way it is, it's gonna get even worse. They claim to know that, but they haven't done shit about it, really. They claim that they were planning to work on crap, but guess what? It doesn't take 2 years for shit to happen. Hell, it doesn't take 3 years for shit to happen. It won't take that long for people to end up in the fucking streets because shit is not happening to prevent it. The homeless rate, even in the city of Frisco, is climbing because it's too damn expensive out in the city of San Francisco. Even after the dot-com bubble burst. And that was in the 1990s. I'm not saying there wasn't homeless in the 1980s and 70s, but hey, there are maybe a percentage that may have made a certain choice that they weren't aware of. That would eventually end up where they'd eventually end up in the streets. That's one. The one thing is though is that after the dot-com, even before the dot-com bubble burst, things went completely bolt to fucking haywire essentially, even beyond that. But nothing's really been done to prevent it. People come into the state of California not only for the beaches, not only for the sights, not only for and not only for the sights and sounds and whatnot of the Hollywood and Vine to start with, and the studios and such like that, and the theme parks and whatnot. They come in here to make a living for themselves and their families. They've done this since the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, to name a number. If not just from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, if not years before. And it can still continue to be a positive trait like that if things were to happen that would be beneficial for this people who are currently and still in the state of California in each and every city and county and town. I have faith and belief that Ronald Reagan, when he was governor, he wouldn't let this shit happen. And yet, yes, he was a Democrat then. And yet he had Republican values, just like I said that I believe that John Franklin Kennedy had. to the liberal politician who said that he was going to dismantle the CPS organization or program, including with the foster care system, which should be added even if it wasn't, you need to learn that when you're in office, you're not in office for yourself. And this goes to every politician, even in the state of Washington, D.C., and every state across the fucking United States. Once you're in office, and Trump knows this too, once you're in office, you can't be in it for yourself. You're there to serve and support and protect and back the American people. You're not there to make a fast buck, to fill your pockets with a lot of shit, just so you have a better and bright future for you, not only you, but your family. But even if you became single, it would be mainly for you, I know. Once you're in office, once you start doing things that you that you even claim, even in the campaign of going into that particular office, that you say you're going to do for the American people, even in the state of California, you fucking back that shit up. You cannot do what Obama did by saying a lot of promising bullshit, and then say, I won, get over it, slam the door on the opposing party's face, then turn around, and even before that, turn around, and after saying, the healthcare plan of mine will not be socialist, as he said during his first campaign, and then turning around after he put Hillary Rodham Clinton as his Secretary of State and changed his healthcare plan to a socialist healthcare plan. Which basically, I believe that Hillary talked him into it, essentially. Like most women talk men into many different illogical crap anyway. At times. I'm not saying all women, but they were the majority. And on top of that, the reason of MGTOW, which I support, it has a lot more logistics and logical aspects to it, and whatnot, more than the feminist movement of today. The feminist movement, I can understand people, women want equality, women want equal fairness and all this other stuff, right? But the basic fact is there's ways to do it without having to go into a feminist gathering and trying to tear men down emotionally and psychologically. And thereby also tear your families apart through the court system. And then think that you can raise your child, be that sons as well as daughters, just as well without the father. When it's been proven time and time and time and time on and on and on and on that the child, both son and daughter, need two, not one. Because if you ever have paid attention, ladies, and I'm not going against you harshly at all here, I'm being honest with you, 100% logical especially, that it's been proven time and time and time and time again as well that the reason why there's so much crime when it comes to our youth, for example, is because they had no male figure around. And even if they did, the mother practically, if at all, tore him a new one every chance she got, because she wasn't happy within herself, obviously. She felt that she was entitled to shit when it's not logical, especially on the levels that when the feminist movement want women to be entitled with shit. This you may call a rant, but it's not. I'm being honest. Yes, mothers are the nurturers. That's a given. I respect that and I accept that. But the one thing is, in order to have a stable anything within the family, it takes two, because one can't just do it by themselves. Regardless of how much backing you have by family, or even if you do have any backing by family, or even friends for that matter, be good. But yet, friends and family can go only so far. The rest is up to you, and that's not really enough now, is it? You may be thinking a lot of things by watching this video. You might think I'm crazy. You might think I've lost my marbles. You may think a lot of things that are sinful and judgmental. Thereby, I can guarantee you will be put in the courts of heaven for doing that, and therefore you will be judged for it even before. But know this: I'm saying all this because it's not only actuality. It's not only been proof and proven. And I'm not. And the one thing is, I'm not saying that even with fathers, that things wouldn't still happen in the sense of crimes done by our youth. But I would have to say that the more that there are fathers in families, the less chances that could easily happen to where there's crimes happening by our youth. The less chances that they would end up in gangs. The less chances that they would end up doing narcotics. And these wild-eyed teen things like sniffing, what was it, glue, Elmer's glue for one. Any particular type of kitchen spices, among other things. It's one to express for a child and teen to express themselves when it comes to changing color of hair, or and put a nose ring and anything on their nose or tongue or whatever the hell else, right? Or even on their bellies, whatever. But it's a complete other when it goes beyond that to the points to when they're incarcerated. No, it doesn't. To where they have a record to where their futures are more than in question. And I know the liberal politicians, as well as many other politicians, cannot say that they are free from this bullshit either, because they see it being done not only around their families, and I'm sure in some cases without the media putting their nose into it, it's been being done within their families. Even if it's not being done within their own surrounding, but within their families beyond their own little fucking surrounding, within the same family connection. But they're afraid to even mention it because they think it'll damage their chances to be reelected for a second term in any particular office that they're in. And they call that, oh, we're still human by doing that. We won't be judged and harshly accused and anything else by allowing that to happen. Like, but the one thing is, anybody with brains and enough sense would know that you're doing what you can to prevent it, but yet sometimes that still happens, right? Parents, even uncles and various other family members only can do so much. The rest is up to the child as well as the child's parents, right? Regardless if the family members have a politician in the family or not, or regardless if the family has a police officer in the family circle, or a judge in the family circle, or any other thing in the family circle. That's one thing that the politicians and many other people don't realize. It's not only us. It's not only the general public out there that are not in political office and don't have families in political or law enforcement aspect or anything else for that matter. It happens even to them, but they can't. They're too afraid to say it. But they know it's happening within their family circle. And I'm not saying this in the sense of judgment either, because I know that the basis of reality. I deal with the basis of reality and logic. Many people claim that they do in their own way. Hey, that's fine. As a humanitarian advocate, citizen advocate, I can support that. But you have to really show it, and just instead of saying it. Those who I mentioned need to be realistic within themselves to start with. Do not fear things, because fear can eat you alive from within. It's okay to fear to a certain extent. Yes, that's normal. Many people can fear things. I mean, hell, children fear a lot of things. Hell, when I was younger, I can tell you straight out, I had a fear of palm trees. I've had that all you want. I don't care. I'm being honest. Mainly it's because of the big fucking hand shit that you on some of them, you know? Or if not many of them, really. Yes, they're there for tropical decorations and shit like that and whatever, but as a child, you don't see it that way. Right? Right? You don't see it that way. You see it as something that would be able to deroot and grab you. That's the child's mind right there. That's in the base of imagination in the sense of scaring oneself. Of course, not really intending to, but hey, it happened, right? Many other things need to happen too. Not only in the base of benefit for the children and their fathers and their mothers and and society itself and the general public itself, even in and out of politics. That even the politicians have to do and haven't not done, even though they've promised a lot of shit and haven't really pulled through with it. And keep on claiming that they are going to pull through with it, but they keep on lagging and twiddling their thumbs while promising the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over again. The only politician that's put his actions as he promised, is Donald J. Trump. The ones that are blocking it because they don't believe it's necessary for the American people to get what is promised because the liberal politicians don't want things to be given to the American people, even if they will be beneficial to the American people. Namely, Nancy Pelosi believes that bullshit negative crap that the American people should never get what is beneficial for the American people. The American people should work for it. Yet, the American people have been working for a lot of shit for themselves, but yet, guess what? The end result doesn't always turn out to be a positive one now, doesn't it? So Nancy Pelosi and the liberal politicians in Washington, D.C. need to back the fuck off and let Donald J. Trump do what he promised, whether they agree with it or not. Because the American people are getting tired of this bullshit politic crap, and the more it happens, the more people are going to take the actions upon themselves. And of course, they may be arrested for it. Hey, people are more than aware of that. But people are getting so sick and tired of the shit, even in the political venue, that it's getting to the points of way beyond ridiculous crap, you know? Yet the politicians still act like they know what's best when they don't. They may know what's best for them. That's the one thing. But you cannot proclaim that you know what's best for the American people or this country when you really don't. And that goes towards the liberal politician idiots in the Democratic Party. Start. I could say we would also go towards the Republican Party as well as conservative Republican Party, but they haven't done anything negatively to not benefit the American people. So why should it? There's no reason for it. And if the Hollywood starlets don't agree with what I said, is because they're too brain dead. Their too mindset on their mindset is oh the Democratic Party are so glorified. We should do this and we should do that for them. We should always defend their asses, even though this country is still going to shit. Even with the liberal party's not doing diddly squat for the American people in this country. We should still back them up. Maybe they'll change their minds. Bad move. And yet the Hollywood starlets don't get it. Even the Republican Party voters are supporting you idiots in Hollywood. You liberal lovers in Hollywood. Even the ones that were around since the 1970s. Even the ones that were around since the 1960s. Yet you still want to defend and speak up for the Liberal Party who hasn't done shit positively for the American people? Either you smoking too much PCP and acid, and dropped a lot of acid to the point where you're not really thinking straight, or something is awry, and something is definitely wrong with you, even share. Even something is definitely wrong with share, obviously. You need to, if there of any one of the Hollywood starlets that have said shit against Trump, especially, are truly American people and truly would support the American way and our freedoms and such like that. You need to be a true American, even if you do not agree with the current president. You need to still be an American and back up him and support him while he's in the White House. He's going to be in the White House again for 2020. I have a strong feeling about that, but guess what? If I'm wrong, hey, so be it. But the basic fact is that Trump has done a lot of positive things that he's been haggled about. He's been continuously blocked from doing so far. But he's been able to maneuver around the blockades. But guess what? The liberal politicians need to realize you keep on doing the negative by blocking things that will be beneficial for this country and the American people and our youth, you are going to be judged in the courts of heaven. Starting with Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Boxer, Dianne Feinstein, among others. Now, for the state of California, is Gavin Newsom going to put a fucking cap on the fucking base of when it comes to the rent situations in the city and state of Sacramento, California, Charlotte, and the surrounding cities, in the county of Sacramento, and the other cities and counties within the state of California, to where things are able, and also to where things are also going straight down to the base affordability, or is he going to keep on twiddling his thumbs, promising a lot of shit, along with Darrell Steinberg promising a lot of shit, but nothing's really happening? Which is basically merry-go-round crap, and people are getting more than sick and tired of that shit. You people do not get it, do you? The politicians are you politicians are in office not for yourselves. Yet you wanna act like you're there for the American people or the citizens of any state, and yet you fucking do shit only that benefits you and your party mostly, like the liberal Democrats have done more often than not. And you think that the American people should be okay with that? No, they're not. Oh, believe me, they are not. But a number of them are afraid to voice out because they don't want to be ridiculed by those who strongly support your sorry asses and the Liberal Party. I'm not afraid. I can voice it as much as possible. I would even voice it to a whole fucking crowd in front of the Capitol. If this was to be played right in front of the Capitol, in front of hundreds of thousands of American people in the state of California, I don't care how many would agree with me or not agree with me. The fact of it is that I know what is logical and what is not. And what is right and what is not. What is just and what is not. And I'm not saying people do not know in their own way on the same aspects and the same venues and what have you, but the basic fact is that things have gone so fucking out of hand that it's not funny anymore. It's not gonna be tolerable anymore. And if things are not done appropriately, don't be surprised if you see more and more news reports against the Liberal Party, against the state of California, against every base and of operation within the state of California that the people take upon themselves to do. Even if, and more often than not, it's been to the point where another person's harmed. We don't need that. But yet, that seems to be the only thing that's getting people noticed, right? Is by harming another one. It really shouldn't happen, right? And yet they're not really meaning to, but hey, they figure it's one way of doing it. The liberal politicians either need to fucking face up to reality, face up to logic, and actually fucking do shit that's beneficial for the state of California and its citizens and its youth, or get the fuck out of office and let the Republicans and conservative Republicans take over. Because people in the Republican Conservative Party are doing things beneficial for the state, for every part of this country, while the liberal Democrats are trying to detour it every fucking chance they get. And yet, at the same time, the liberal politicians are trying to say, "Oh, this is what we're really doing," when really it's not. They're trying to bullshit the American people while they're blocking everything that's beneficial that Trump is trying to do. Everything that's beneficial for the American people and this country and our youth, the liberal politicians have been trying to detour and or block completely. And yet the liberal politicians, even while after his speech, they've been trying to say, "Oh, this is what the liberal politicians are really doing," too, and they're literally outfaced and outright lying to the American people. This humanitarian advocate and citizen advocate is getting sick and tired of this shit. And I know the American people in their own way are getting sick and tired of it as well. You want them to vent? You want them to vent a lot? How about they vent to the point where they go over and find out where your hangout places are liberals, and they make a big old ruckus. You wouldn't want that. You know that'll make news. You know that'll make the news. It'll make you look bad. It'll make the liberal politicians in the state of California, as well in the state of Washington, D.C., and other states, and including New York, look very fucking bad. Because you're not really doing your job. Even though you promised a lot of shit, you're not really doing what you promised. You're not doing a lot of things that you promised that you claim that would benefit the American people in any state within any part of the United States here. And yet you claim to be in the political office for the people. Yet time and time again, it shows that you're only in it for yourself. Even as you get paid under the table to support certain factions, what have you else, or organizations to not do what you promised that you would do, even if when it came to doing something against a particular organization or anything else for that matter, especially when it comes to C.P.H.A. And for many years, people have been saying, even when I was younger, much younger than I am now, way younger than I am now, that the government is corrupt. I could see it. I've been seeing it as I got older, that every so often there's maybe leeways of things changing, right? But every so often you see a bit of the corruption even building more. And yet they want to reassure the American people that no, nothing's really happening that's bad. Oh, the American people should be so more than aware that we're doing everything to make sure that everything's more than done logically and positively for this country as well as for them. That's mostly done and said by the liberal idiots. You politicians need to realize if you don't do anything You cannot go against the aspect of things being done by the American people. And yet, with that, of course, they may be incarcerated. But guess what, though? You politicians want people's futures to be bright. You need to fucking wake the fuck up, get off your sorry asses, and start moving. That's starting with the liberal politicians in the state of California and New York City and state. And actually do the fucking things that you fucking promised the American people, especially when it comes to the beneficial for our youth, and also when it comes to the beneficial aspects, when it comes to the American people in general, families, single and otherwise, and senior essentially. When it comes to the senior, when it comes to the Social Security situation, the housing situation, the medical situations, and various other things, especially when it comes to our youth's education. You promise a lot of shit, yet you don't fucking do shit to back it up. Oh, yeah, things take time, but guess what? They don't take 2 to 3 years. Even beyond 2 to 3 years, as it's been shown many times that things are not being done. But suddenly when Trump comes in office, bingo, then he's relented against by the Liberal Party. Because they don't want things to benefit the American people 100%. But Trump is fighting them and fighting them and fighting them to make sure that the American people and this country are benefited in every positive, logical way and manner. But the liberal politicians don't want that because they were done wrong when to start with, JFK was shot, assassinated. They want to control. They want to make it to where Trump doesn't follow through with his promises, so they have a better chance of being in office, grabbing onto what I called the golden rod, which is the damn White House. So that the Liberal Party can have that grab onto that golden rod, which is the White House, and have full power and deep control over the American people in this country by turning everything socialist and taking our rights and freedoms away and everything else for that matter, and tearing the current constitution apart that was written and established by our forefathers many years before many of us were born. More than hundreds of years before we were even born. And yet the liberal politicians want to call that justified and logical. No, it's not. And then liberal politicians want to act like they're doing something positive for the American people. That's not doing anything positive for the American people either. Or this country, for that matter. Wake up and fucking smell the reality and logic, you fucking liberal jackasses. And you fucking liberal slut bitches, too, on top of that. The basic fact is, I'm being honest, and I'm straight up honest and logical, and I'm speaking for the American people in this country and our youth. And the most way that may not have been expected, but hey, guess what? I don't mean no disrespect to any company, even YouTube. But I'm being honest. I'm doing what the Constitution of this country is allowing me to do, and allows every other person to do, to speak their minds, even when it comes to the support of the American people and our youth. I'm not in it for myself like the liberal politicians obviously seem to be in it for themselves mostly. I've been advocating since 2004 to help better this country, to make America great, as Donald Trump's campaign slogan was, and still is. Make America great. Let's not make it to where it's socialist, to where our freedoms and rights are taken away by the liberal idiot fucking Democrats. The American people deserve positive, logical things, not things that'll be taken away and torn apart from the grasp of what they deserve. Our troops fight every time, even when it came to the Afghanistan situations, when it came to World War I and II, when it came to many other wars beyond that, to keep our freedom and way of life completely on a positive level, and to where our freedoms and rights were still strong and well protected and secured. And I support them for that. My father did the same thing as a Marine in the Marine Corps, and I love him for that, and I support him for that, especially even though he's no longer with us. I still support the Marines and every military, both Army, Navy, and Marine. And the Air Force. So, let's see what happens if anything I said gets through to the liberal politicians to where they actually take action, to where things are done appropriately instead of corruption. Especially, let's see if anything happens to CPS, to where they don't do the negative shit they've done for so many years now. And especially when it comes to the foster care system that has been done through the foster care system for many years, that is stupid and illogical. And even with and see if Gavin Newsom actually does anything to the points to where the American people in the state of California are benefited, especially when it comes to the rent situation goes back down. The rent cost goes back down, and there's actually a rent cap all across the fucking state. And where Gavin Newsom would be easily ignoring and pushing away any secret closed door thing that he's basically trying to be pay, where the realty companies especially are trying to pay the politicians under the table to so where they can get their way, and in order for the realty companies to keep on allowing the rent to go higher and higher to where it benefits the realty companies, to where the politicians would have to keep their mouths shut about it. And in order for them to do that, then the realty companies would pay off the liberal idiot politicians. Let's see if Gavin Newsom can block that shit, to where he benefits the American people in the state and our youth in the state of California, and not the realty companies, but also to where the rent cost goes straight down to affordability aspects all across the state, starting from Sacramento all the way through the state to even to the full extent of Frisco city and county, San Francisco city and county, that is, from Sacramento City and County all the way across to San Francisco City and County, which also would also include the cities and counties of LA, Santa Clara County, and Alameda County. And let's see, HUD needs to steer away from the corruption bullshit that they have. What's been also said, that they're falling into the bullshit of allowing rents to go. HUD needs to make sure that things go way more than logically fair for the American people all across the state of California to start with, and keep things down. The rent costs down to the points of more than affordable, more than low income aspects especially. Gavin Newsom, you need to listen and to this video continuously, because everything I said, I'm not gonna back away from. I'm not gonna back away from it. I stand strong and secure about it, and it's 100% positive, logical, and realistic. You want to be in a second term, Gavin? Prove it. Do things that benefit our youth. Do things that benefit the American people in the state of California to start with. By one, getting rid of this the sanctuary city and state fucking bullshit. Two, getting rid of the high tax plan. And follow up with what I said earlier. And also the liberal politician better follow up what I said earlier about him supposedly claiming that he's going to dismantle CPS. He better fucking realize I know what's really going on, and every liberal politician better fucking start benefiting the American people within every state that they are governing. That's from California and New York, among others. For those who believe and support me, comment on below. Who want to get more, and also if you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe and click the bell too, because you'll get more and more besides what I've already put up. I am a humanitarian advocate for both every American person, legal American person. I support those who come across the border in the aspect of illegal, because they are, after all, Heavenly Father's child. But the one thing is that those who come in here illegally and those who are being brought over to the state of California by bus, those who also came over, which are also those who came over illegally, there needs to be something done to where they can come into California, many other states, legally without having to cross that damn border. And Donald Trump, I'm not gonna stress this too much, but I will stress it as far as logic permits, that you build that damn wall. No, and don't worry about the naysayers. Just build that damn wall. Don't build it to the liberal Democrats' agreeable standards. Build it to the full extent that you promised in your campaign. I know the liberal Democrats are probably afraid of me now. I don't care. The basic fact is that I speak the truth and logic. Heavenly Father will back me up on that. I guarantee it. Those who are Trump supporters will back me up on that. I guarantee it. Those who are true humanitarians will back me up on that. I know that for a fact, and I can more than guarantee that. Those who are child advocates will back me up on that. I more than guarantee that. Those who are humanitarian advocates for both genders will back me up on that. I guarantee that. Those who are fully, truly about the Constitution will back me up on that. I guarantee that especially. Now, Gavin Newsom, you better, and also Daryl Steinberg, you better take heed to what I said. on this video and actually put forth the fucking shit that you promised every American person in the state of California, in every city, state, and county, in every part of the state, and every city and county. When it comes to the low-income situations, not only for the homeless, but also for those who are on fixed and low-income basis of, like, started with Social Security as well as retirement incomes, among other things. And also who are working on that aspect of low-income employment pay wages. And the liberal politician who said that he was going to, again, dismantle CPS and possibly reconstruct it to where it works the way it should, the way it should have been, even for the one I mentioned earlier that I was involved in the case of, you better make sure that you do the fucking shit. Even if it comes to where the foster system and CPS are no more, and it's reestablished as something else that's more logical and more supportive to every parent and child. Because children are our future. Children are the full aspect of innocence. When they're being passed around by CPS to different families, builds up confusion and uncertainty, among other things in psychological aspect. But does CPS give a damn about that? Obviously not. Many children get to the points of fear and besides the overwhelming confusion. CPS doesn't realize it. CPS is only worried about this right here, really. And so are the social workers only worried about this. As long as they get this, whatever happens to children, they don't give a damn about. They may voice it and, oh yeah, I care. Bull fucking shit. Gavin Newsom, you have a duty, you better do it. In the sense of making sure that the rents go back down, one. Our youth's education is also on the beneficial aspect, two. The housing situation, the low income housing situation is still on a go, on the sense of and more than an increase, especially along with the rental gap to where things go back down in the sense of the rent cost, like even at current. Get rid of the sanctuary city and state fucking bullshit. Get rid of the fucking high tax plan. To where more and more businesses come in the state of California that would also benefit the citizens who are still looking for work and stable employment. That would also benefit the ones that would be later on looking for stable employment, even after graduation. So believe me, there's more to it, but I'm weighing things out here. But what I said needs to be focused upon and dealt with as well. What I said earlier, what I said in so much passion, needs to be dealt with as well, or things will never, ever be the way they should be. Because the way things are being done right now by the liberal politicians only benefits only one. It doesn't benefit the many. There's a saying that Spock, Leonard Nimoy's character, says, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. The needs of the many when it comes to low income rent needs to be done. The needs of the many which is the many of the whole entire population of California, outweigh the one, being the politician jackass, being the liberal idiots. It outweighs the one, which is the liberal democratic bitches, stupid fuckheads, and the needs of the many are the citizens of California, the legal citizens of California, and the youth of California. It outweighs the needs of the one, being the liberal bitches, the liberal democratic bitches, and the liberal democratic assholes. And Trump knows this too. The next one is that C.R.P.H.A. about a month or two ago has come up with an idea. We will be showing it to the state of California in one aspect and way, but the one thing is that hopefully it will be seen and actually put through, because it is a beneficial thing, and it's a energy saver in its own right. It would benefit those who take the buses and light rails all across the state of California. It will start essentially from Sacramento as a test run, and it can easily go to the Silicon Valley as another test run. Then stretch over to LA, and then stretch over to the Alameda County, Contra Costa County, San Francisco City and County. Let's put it this way. It will keep you dry. Those who ride the buses and light rail, it will keep you dry even when the rain and when vehicles go right through those damn puddles. And it will help the blind and deaf in many different ways, which I have right here written down. And I have a general sketch of it as well. The only thing is, it has to be put through and into action and into reality by the transportation agency within the state of California. And the transportation, if you want to also call them a coalition, or organization. I don't know. It doesn't matter, really. But the basic fact is, once it's put through there, then it will be introduced into every city and county transportation agency or authority, be that, of course, the bus systems that operate both the buses and light rails. Thereby, it would, once it is put into an actuality, even through them, then you will see the benefit it will happen for not only those who are mobile, but also those who are not 100% mobile, those who are in wheelchairs, those who need to have walkers, those who are blind with walking sticks, among other things. The ones that are blind and deaf, the ones that need walking sticks, especially those who with guide dogs, especially, and those who are, again, mobile, are able to walk, like myself, for example. Or I should say equal to myself. If you have any questions, and if you want to talk about what I talked about in this video of C.R.P.H.A. Humanitarian and C.R.P.H.A. Citizen Advocate, please let me know. Comment below. And those who are new to my channel, welcome. Please, again, click on the subscribe button and also click on the bell to get more updates. notification updates of my other videos that I may put on here. And to YouTube, I hope you understand I'm not doing anything against the guidelines when it comes to the restrictions and such like that. And if it does seem like that, I do apologize, and please don't block my my video feeds, because I am doing this for the American people and the citizens of California and every citizen across the United States. And I am doing it for you, YouTube employees, and your families and children. And even through the same thing with the base of Google, among many other companies that I may not have mentioned. I am also a business advocate in all aspects. I'm also a education advocate, and I am planning to put a educational video together in the sense of advocating, but I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to start yet. And also, when it comes to the health advocate, I'm still working on another one on that one too. Anyways, this is C.R.P.H.A, humanitarian and citizen advocate. Live long and prosper. Please stay safe, and know Heavenly Father and our Savior will always be with you. And you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be a churchgoer. They always will be with you regardless. Have a good day, and please stay safe, and do not drink and drive. And have a happy Easter this April, this month of April, that we are currently on.